What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're talking about some luxury niche fragrances. For me, I enjoy fragrances across the board, from $20 fragrances to several $100 fragrances. In this video we've got some of my personal favorites, a very distinctive collection of 10 fragrances that are really a joy to the senses to smell, some with tweaks and twists on popular DNAs that are inspired by some more popular things, some very original, but the one thing you can count on is they all smell of quality. Let's dive into these. Stay tuned. Today's video is brought to you by the good folks over at Fragripedia House. Fragripedia House, for those of you not familiar, is a luxury niche store that handles a lot of incredible brands. Some I've been lucky enough to get my hands on many of, and they're constantly expanding the brands that they have, such as Parfums de Marly, Creed, Xerjoff, and so on, as well as very familiar ones like the Gate Fragrances, Eau de Moe, Kajal Perfumes, Lark Perfumes, and many, many more. So I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check out any of the fragrances featured in this video, whether it's getting a sample, grabbing a discovery set from the brand, or grabbing a bottle. Now let's get into these 10. So this first one is my most recent acquisition from this house. So I recently dove into the house of Paradis de Sens. This one is called Bliss. So the one that I had tried previously is called Eden. It's a beautiful citrus, ivy, woody fragrance. So very beautiful, fresh green woody fragrance. I was so impressed when I had an opportunity to get another fragrance from the brand, I picked out Bliss. So what's familiar and incredible about this one, it's similar to the Tuscan leather scent profile, but there's kind of a shift in the notes here, where that's all about the saffron and the raspberry to go with the leather. Here it's all about the woods, the oak moss, the pink pepper and the raspberry and the saffron are present, but they kind of take a back seat. It on skin kind of starts to settle into a dry, woodsy, leathery facet with a little bit of moss. I get more of the moss and patchouli earlier on in the fragrance, but as it dries, it's all about the woody nuance, a dry woody nuance, and a nice, somewhat animalistic leather accord that's not too rough and tumble, but also not super smooth at the same time. Again, you get raspberry early on with the brightness of the pink pepper, all of that good stuff, and the warm spice is there throughout, but never becomes the star of the show. Like I said before, it's a saffron spice. Like I said, fans of Tuscan leather will be familiar with the scent profile, but it doesn't smell just like it. As I said previously, it's kind of like a shifting of what's dominant in the fragrance. So fans of woods and earthy nuances will appreciate this a whole lot more. Quality's phenomenal. Performance is everything you would expect it to be with luxury niche. It's honestly too much as far as longevity. I don't need a fragrance to last beyond 12 hours. This one definitely does, without being a room filler, but very strong and very present. And it's Paradis de Sens Bliss. Not every fragrance is just full of naturals. Sometimes you'll come across these luxury brands that have some aroma chemicals that are man-made synthetics that are just done right. Anybody that's a fan of the Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce Scent profile should really try Parfums de Marly Percival. So Percival, in my opinion, as I've stated previously about this one, is the ultimate form, the ultimate version of Fierce, because its nuclear performance, I've never sprayed this more than 4 times. It does fill a room. It fills my entire apartment at 4 sprays. Immense compliment getter. My wife loves this fragrance. It's fresh, it's spicy, it's a little green, woodsy, very musky, and there's a little bit of a fruity tone to it as well. But very fresh, spicy, and musky. There's a lot to really enjoy about this. And the main thing for a lot of people is the crazy performance. God, this smells so good out in the air. If you've never experienced Percival, you're doing yourself a disservice. Could you get Mont Blanc Legend or something like that, or Mercedes-Benz Man, an affordable designer option for 30 to 40 bucks? Sure. But even with the aroma chemicals, this does smell of higher quality, a better blend overall, how smooth it is for having man-made synthetics, believe it or not, very smooth, and nuclear, absurd and pretty much unnecessary performance. That's what makes this one beg a prettier penny, but you also see when comparing it to everything else that smells like it, why this one's the most expensive of the bunch. So definitely worth sampling and checking out. It's not necessarily going to be for everyone, but like I said, if you're a fan of that scent profile, in my opinion, this is the ultimate version. And it's Parfums de Marly, Percival. For more dressy occasions, this is one that I kind of hold in high regard. I don't reach for a whole lot because it's just such a classy, fruity floral fragrance. If you like notes of pineapple, florals like iris and hyacinth with a beautiful clean musk, you'll probably like Accento from Xerjoff. Again, this is one of the highest rated fragrances that I've ever done a full review on. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 several years back. Like I said, I hold this one in very high regard. It's just so beautiful, juicy, very, very juicy fruit, purple floral. Like the color of the bottle is very fitting because it's hyacinth and iris. It's powdery, it's bright. For being a floral fragrance, I don't find it all that feminine, though guys that are used to the more masculine aromatic fougères, barbershop, spicy aromatics, yeah, compared to that, it's going to have a more feminine leaning, slightly unisex tone to it. But as far as elegance, I mean, there isn't too many more in my collection that I think are much more elegant than the way this one is. And again, performance is outrageous. This is another one that 5 sprays is kind of a maximum. That's when you really want to show out, is 5 sprays. Because when I wear this one, it's a show out situation. It's more formal, dressy occasions when I want my fragrance to add to my attire to help me stand out a little bit more from maybe everybody else. I encourage you to get your nose on this one. This is an underappreciated fragrance from Xerjoff. This is Accento. One of the best niche blue fragrances I've come across in a long time. It's a relatively newer niche brand that is kind of a subsidiary, though separate, from Kajal Perfumes. It's the same owner. Shout outs to my dear friend Mo. This is actually called Eau de Moe, but it is specifically the Tariq fragrance. So what about Tariq, of the 4 fragrances available from the house, makes this one the one to feature? Well, a lot of you know me as a blue fragrance guy. Heck, we featured one blue fragrance so far with Percival. This is such a high quality, beautiful lavender cardamom blue style fragrance. Bright, fresh, mass appealing, fresh and spicy. The lavender smells fresh cut. It's actually got a little tone of a bubblegum feel, but if there's such a thing as a niche bubblegum feel, they managed to encompass it here. There's a nice fruity undertone with a soft woody balance in the dry down. This is lovely. It is easily, without a doubt, my favorite of the 4 from the house. This is the one that speaks to me the most. Honestly, it's the only one I ever reach for. It stays on my rotation table. I do just randomly spray this one from time to time. I would strongly encourage you to get a sample of this. If you're a fan of blue fragrances and maybe you want to step your game up a bit into more of a luxury blue fragrance with some quality raw materials, this would be the one to check out. From the house of Eau de Moe, this is Tariq. This fragrance continues to impress me every time I smell it. Fans of the Silver Mountain Water DNA will enjoy this one. It's much richer, dense, warmer, and woodsy overall, while still having a little bit of that metallic black currant fruity tone. Doesn't really have all the tea in it, little hint of it, but it's from Perfumes. This is Memoire. This is such a good fragrance. This can be a signature scent for somebody, but you have to be a fan of woodsy fragrances. Like I said, it has that similarity to Creed's Silver Mountain Water in the top with that sharp metallic citrus. Very high quality stuff here. Performance is really good without being overwhelming. This is one that's just easy to like. There's a little bit of spice here, just a touch in the backdrop, but that inky metallic feel that's just so enjoyable about the Silver Mountain Water profile. Xerjoff Mephisto, think those type of fragrances, but kind of a slightly warmer, woodsy take on that scent profile with high quality oils and raw materials made here. It's a beautiful piece of perfumery that's totally unisex. Obviously, it leans masculine. It's centered around a scent profile that is typically mostly for men, but it's one that I really think anybody can enjoy. If you like metallic and woody, that's where it kind of stands on its own. Like I said, it's familiar. There's familiarity here, but it also kind of veers off on its own path as it dries. Just a lovely offering from the house. From Perfumes, this is Memoire. Next is a bright, fun, lively fragrance that's so good for the spring and for the summer. If you like lemon and you like minty green, you'll probably like the Gate Fragrances First Sight. So this has a beautiful, thick, gelatin-like limoncello note with a beautiful mint leaf. This is So vibrant, so invigoratingly fresh, thirst-quenching type of juiciness here. This fragrance is phenomenal with incredible performance to boot for something so fresh and citric and green dominant. Like I said, the mint leaf here is beautiful. Very believable stuff with this limoncello feel that doesn't thicken it up too much, but does offer a little bit of that lemon gelatin feel. But if there's such a thing as a higher quality version of that particular aroma, they managed to capture it here with some soft woods in the backdrop. There's a lot of notes going on, but it's also not crazy complicated. It's bright and aromatic that kind of supports it to liven and help lift that mint leaf even more. Just a beautiful fragrance. This is the freshest fragrance that I've tried from the house. Not the only fragrance that I have from the house, but I felt like it was definitely the one to feature in this particular Bliss topic video because I wanted to balance out a lot of offerings here and really try to see if I could provide some information for maybe something for everyone. So if you kind of lean towards the freshies, you want something citric and minty, one of the best in my collection. And you can get samples from the website as well. The Gate Fragrances, First Sight. Now, my current count when it comes to Creed fragrances is like 6 or 7 bottles. I have increased the number of Creed fragrances that I have. I've had decants and or carded samples of about 15 of their offerings so far. So I've tried a good bit from the house. But with that said, the reason I say that is my favorite is still Creed Viking. The original Creed Viking still speaks to me the most over Aventus Cologne, over Silver Mountain Water, over Original Santal, which I'm a big fan of, Green Irish Tweed, Silver Mountain, the list goes on and on. There's some great stuff, even Royal Oud, believe it or not, which is a banger. But this beautiful citric, bright aromatic, loads of pink pepper, sweet, spicy, so good. Classic style, done to perfection in my opinion. It's a matured scent profile because it's timeless. It kind of has a little bit of the Old Spice thing going on here, but niche perfumery. It doesn't smell exactly like Old Spice, but it's what it most resembles to me. For me to give an example to people that maybe haven't tried this one, you need to try this one. You really should. If you're the type that likes those classic masculine scent profiles and you want, top tier quality, this is the way to go. It's not an overwhelming performer, but it lasts a long time. I always get 8 or 9 hours on skin with solid, decent, average performance and projection, arm's reach type of stuff for a good 2 hours before it starts to sit a bit close to the skin and has a lighter sillage. Nothing overwhelming. It will remind you as the wearer from time to time that it's still there, but it's never big, strong hits after about the 2 hour mark when it starts to sit closer to the skin. This is beautiful. It dresses up, it dresses down. If you're the type that doesn't want the modern frills and fruitiness and sweetness and synthetics and all that stuff, and you just want timeless, just done to perfection, like I said, timeless, done to perfection with spicy aromatics, you need to try Creed Viking. Now we go from very masculine to unisex bordering feminine because it's centered around water lily. As soon as I say that, some of you watching this video know what fragrance I'm about to talk about because I've sang the praises of this a lot. I wore it just a few days ago at the recording of this video. This is from Rose and Marius. I know I'm butchering that. And the translation, which I'm not even going to try to butcher the name of the fragrance, is a stopover in the creeks. And it literally smells like walking through the creeks. But there's got to be flowers present because there's a strong floral dominance here. Water lily, jasmine. I want to say there's orange blossom, neroli. There's a lot of white florals here, as well as a load of citruses. But it really shines with that water lily smell. So fresh. A little bit of greens here. It's not all that herbal. Beautiful fragrance. The first time I wore this, I got 3 compliments from 3 different ladies. I was donating blood at Vitalent. All 3 ladies from the different sections, from checking in to the giving the information to actually the donation, all 3 ladies I dealt with in that particular situation complimented me on my fragrance. And I've since gotten 2 compliments beyond that. That's not the only compliments I've ever gotten. The reason I say that specific situation every time, it was some things just leave a mark with certain fragrances, and that's a scent memory I'll always have tied to this one. Performance is great. This stuff lasts and lasts. This is a very casual, soft aroma that sticks to your skin like glue. Ladies can absolutely enjoy this one. Fellas that like soft florals, because it's not overly girly. It does lean feminine, but I wouldn't call it all that girly and feminine, guys. It's absolutely worth sampling. This is such a good fragrance. I had to feature this one in this particular video because I'm a huge fan of it. Not an easy fragrance to pronounce as far as the name, but a very easy fragrance to wear and enjoy. It's watery, fresh, breezy, calming, and soothing. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Rose Marius, Stopover in the Creeks. So I was a little torn on what fragrance to feature from the house of Kajal because the last several releases have really been good. I debated on going with Ferris here. Beautiful, spicy, aromatic, beautiful lavender. Same lavender that's in Eau de Moe Tariq, just to give you an idea. But their newest release, Masa, it's impressed me so much. It's the best release they've put out in the last handful that I had to feature this. Because this is a... Let's start with confusing. Confusing the way this is perfumed, because it shouldn't work. But it does work. So the green is very fitting. Obviously, the beautiful jewels, sapphires and crystals and everything on top. Beautiful, beautiful. But this is a strong freshwater accord. Okay? Remember that. Now meld it with fresh spicy green, woody, and earthy green. Doesn't sound like all of that goes together, does it? Doesn't sound like it goes together to me. Typically, you would get a few of those accords to make different fragrances, but not necessarily make one, and one that just works. Because the way I view this one is if you want a great masculine everyday scent that's going to smell like nothing else anyone else has. Totally wearable for every day in every situation, dressed up, dressed down. True signature scent, but unique signature scent. That's what impresses me so much about Masa. There's so much to like about this from the artistry side of perfumery while not making a challenging fragrance in any way that doesn't smell like a bunch of other things. That's not loaded down with synthetics. This is so well composed. Big fan. I think they knocked this release out of the park. When I was looking at it, I was really debating on Ferris, but I was like, how do I not talk about the new release? Because it's just so good. Because Ferris was my favorite release from them in a while since Lamar, but this has topped it. And this is starting to run neck and neck with me on Lamar for Best of the House, because I'm a sucker for a really good, versatile fragrance. When you can become something that's great for everything, because most signature scents are just good or pretty good for everything, but not really great in any one situation. This is pretty much great in every situation. I have a high level of appreciation for stuff like that. That's my kind of perfumery. So I'm a big fan of this one. I would encourage you, if you're wanting to try some stuff from Kajal, start with Masa, the newest release. Last but not least is a brand that's known to basically reinterpret popular fragrances with high-level raw materials. It's Spirit of Kings. Some of you may have heard of them. Their most popular as of late being Arrakis, however you say it, basically a niche reinterpretation of Bulgari's Tigar. So here, the one that has stopped me from buying what it smells like, it's called Zaurac, and it is Tom Ford Oud Wood. A slightly better performing Tom Ford Oud Wood. I got about 7 to 8 hours of longevity. The quality's top tier. It still kind of has that cleaner smell to the oud. So anybody that's ever smelled oud wood, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's got that almost industrial strength cleaner type of aroma at first. I know it sounds off-putting. It's not, to most people anyways. It's not. This is special. Spices, deep, rich, airy woods. So good. Look at that atomizer too. There it is. I don't need Tom Ford Oud Wood. I'll never need it as long as I have this bottle, because it is 1-to-1, but high in luxury. Higher end than the private blend oil, the oils they use in the private blend. Because I'm sorry, if you put this side by side with Tom Ford Oud Wood, I'm not saying it's a major jump in quality, but there's a slight noticeable jump in quality here, with a big difference in price, because this is in the 100 some odd dollars, I forgot exactly how much, versus a lot of money, even for a 50 ml of Tom Ford Oud Wood. They've done really well with this house. Their presentations are top notch. I don't have the box handy, but that big jewel on this very hefty metal cap. You saw the atomizer moments ago. Very quality build with some uniqueness to their bottles. I would encourage you. I used to have a discovery set from them. I actually gifted it to my cousin last time I went back to Louisiana. He actually requested, hey, bring me some samples. So I said, hey, you should try this house. Let's change the game up for you from the designer fragrances. And that's really how I feel about Spirit of Kings. And then just a nice little touch that I love. Being from South Louisiana, love seeing the fleur-de-lis with the crowns and everything all over the bottle. I just love their presentations. Obviously, that's not the most important thing, but when you're a hobbyist in this space, you appreciate stuff like that. Quality materials, great atomizer, beautiful presentation, and basically doing a fragrance better than the original, hard to beat. That's what makes Spirit of Kings worth checking out as a house. And like I said, I'll never, and I mean never, buy oud wood. I have no reason to, because I have niche oud wood right here with Spirit of Kings, Zaurac. Well, that was the 10 that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback. And I love hearing from you guys. I'd like to make a special thank you to Fragorpedia House for sponsoring today's video. A few of these I did get directly from them, like the Paradis de Sens fragrance, Rose and Marius, and the Lark fragrance as well. I did actually get from them over the last several months. They sent them out my way for review. So I do appreciate the partnership. Thank you so much for doing so with this video. Obviously, it being a sponsored video had zero to do with what I feel about these fragrances. But if you're interested in checking anything out, like I said, there will be links down in the description with a discount code for you guys. Grab a sample, grab a discovery set, grab a bottle. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 10 and you give them a spray now, there's a real good chance that you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.